What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the first episode of our new career mode and our final one of FIFA 18. All will be revealed in this one as to why it's probably going to be the final one before we go into the FIFA 19. So, I gave you guys the choice. I let you choose the division. I let you choose the team we picked, and you guys decided on Hamburg in Germany. Now, there's a few things I do need to cover before we jump into this. First thing is there is no face cam for this first video, no live commentary, because in the UK, it is sweltering right now, and so for me to have to sit there doing the face cam and all that stuff without having a fan or my window open or anything like that, it would be tremendously boiling. So I decided I was going to record this in the nice heat and then put the commentary over it when it's cooled down later in the evening, as I am doing now. And also, this video will be slightly delayed because earlier on today, I had to sort out some stuff in my new car insurance-wise. So yeah, that's good to go. Now, let's start off with the couple of things that you guys have been asking. So firstly, I know Hamburg got relegated in real life, and a few people wondering whether or not I was going to put them in the second tier of the German leagues and then work our way back up. But I decided against that because I felt like if we went into the German second league, it'd be just too easy for us. Like, I felt I'd just pretty much get promoted instantly. Wouldn't really feel like the game was tough enough and then be experimenting with sliders. So I decided to leave it as it was and, keep in the Bundesliga itself and try and stop Hamburg getting relegated pretty much. That was what I was thinking about. And obviously the second thing was in regards to us moving from Hamburg. So once I feel I've achieved a lot of the stuff that I'm setting myself to achieve in, of course, all that will be talked about in the next episode. There will become a time where I'm feeling like we've done what we can do with Hamburg, we've made them the best, and we're going to move on. Obviously, other career modes, I pretty much ended the series there, and that's where we've stopped. But this one, once we have pretty much completed everything with Hamburg, and I feel like we've done enough with them, we're then going to look at potential jobs within the same series and within the same save. So I'm not going to title this as a Hamburg career mode, I'm just going to title it the career mode, because the premise is that by the end of the series, we won't be Hamburg manager, because there's going to be hopefully another team somewhat down the line once we've achieved a lot of stuff with Hamburg and all of that good stuff. So yeah, taking you through then, the first major thing that I need to report on is the sliders. What we're going to be playing with for this series is this. I have pretty much kept it the same as I did for the Celta Vigo series, if you guys watched that one. Although, I have moved the shortest error of the CPU back to 50, lowered down the pass error, and lowered down the first touch control error on the CPU side. So what I'm hoping this is going to do is it's going to make the games more interesting, going to have more chances in the games, but it's not going to be the case that every time I concede one shot, they're going to go and score it. You know, I want the games to be interesting and I want it to be tough for myself, but I also want the games to be realistic. And for realism and such, you know, it's like if we're looking at the game and they have one shot and they score that one shot from 40 yards out, it frustrates me playing it as well. So to give myself a little bit to work with, although I have bumped it up and made the sliders slightly more difficult, I've also upped it so then the shot error of the CPU is back to the default setting, and therefore they won't be scoring from every single shot. But as I mentioned, to counteract that, the hope is that me changing down the pass error and the first touch error, it will let them create more chances. So in hindsight, they're still likely to score. That's why I've decided on those sliders. I'm not going to keep them that way. They most likely will get changed at some point if I feel the series is too hard or too easy. But of course, I will always consult you guys on that one first. So that's pretty much all I have to cover in the way of all the preferences for the series. But in terms of the board then, what they were actually asking was for us to basically stay away from the relegation zone. They recognise that obviously in real life they got relegated and they pretty much want us to stay up this season, which is going to be the main aim. It's going to be tough, but I think we can do it. In terms of the side itself that we've got here, the team isn't what I would consider to be one of the better ones in Germany. It's a nice, well-rounded squad, but in terms of the overall quality, it's lacking, I'd say, a couple of world-class players in order to quiet and push up higher in the division. So ultimately, the aim is pretty much to try and find a foundation this first season and then build on it. The lucky thing is that this side, comparing it to other ones I've done in the past, isn't really old. Like, I've played series in the past where I've gone into a team and there's numerous 30-plus-year-olds in the starting 11. This time around, it's not the case. There's a few Hamburg players that I wouldn't mind keeping, one of them being Arp, of course. If you guys don't know who he is a young striker from Germany, tipped to be the next big thing, and hopefully he can be that in this series. So he's definitely one I'm keeping, and there's a couple of other guys as well. In terms of the ones I'm training, it is Arp, and it is a centre-back as well. Similar ages on both these guys, hopefully to get them in the first team. How cool does that kit from Lille look as well, guys? Seriously, I'm looking at buying that now, because I looked at it in game. It's the alternate kit, and it looks so damn nice. But yeah, away from that, as you can see, I wasn't really sure about signings. So I pretty much left it until I was 100% set in stone on any players. But we'll talk about that in a moment, because it wouldn't be a FIFA 18 series with DJ Wood unless I was messing something up. And inside 5 minutes of our starting game, pretty much, this is the semi-final of the Preseason Tour, I'd already conceded a penalty. 5 minutes. And I already gave a penalty away. Jeez, man, I just can't. I don't know what I was doing. And then to make matters worse, watch this. Yassine Benzia steps up and makes a complete mug out of me. I dive to the right and he chips it. At that point, I got up and was ready to just leave. I was like, I'm not doing this. There's no way that inside 5 minutes of a new series of I just being chipped by Yassine Benzia from the spot after giving away the penalty. It's not even that funny, right? Because the thing is, I wanted to score first. You know, you want to start as you mean to go on, and yet I've just been made a mug of by somebody who I was potentially looking at signing. So no more. I'm not going to bring Yassine Benzia any more than that. But luckily, we weren't behind for too long, because Bobby Wood would put us on the score sheet with our first Hamburg goal of this series. It may only be in the Preseason Tour, but it's still welcomed as it would be. And I've noticed as well, Papadopoulos is number 9. I don't know why. And I think that's actually the case in real life as well. But he's a centre-back, so I'm not sure what the thought process there is. He's not going to be my number 9. I'm definitely going to change that when I remember to do it. But still, we nearly found the opening, I guess the leading goal there as we went close. But I met a very, very difficult team in this little side. I couldn't really find my feet. I know it's the first game I was really playing with a new team, so that has something to do with it, as well as Lewis Holtby goes close in the second half. Another one who's probably going to be an integral part of this side in the first season. And into the last 10 minutes I went, and I felt like we were going to get the lead when Muller got in. Not Thomas, that is, the other one. And unfortunately, though, again, Enyema was on form in this little side, kept me out a couple of times to stop me finding the winning goal. Looked like it was going to go to extra time until Muller turned, found a cross-back stick, and a substitute came off the bench. I'm not even going to try the name, guys. You guys know how bad my pronunciations are. But in the end, we found the winning goal to make it 2-1 with only a matter of minutes left on the clock. And late drama. Start as you mean to go on. How about that? We'll start as you mean to go on. I'm thinking that we're going to get a few more of these types of results this season, especially with just how difficult this first year could be. Because if you think about it, guys, the team is not exactly the best in the league. You know, the slider settings we have make it quite difficult. Teams are going to be competitive against us, just like Lille are as well. And I've got to say this as well. After coming out of this game, I looked at the match facts, and there was actually 10 shots for us, 6 on target. Lille had 9 with 5 on target. So, as I mentioned, it made it a bit more interesting with the slider settings. They weren't scoring every shot. My keeper was relied, or I had to rely on him quite a few times. But in the end, it made it a very, very interesting first game to the series. Finding the feet's good. To get a win is even better. But I'm not sure if this starting 11 here that played will be my starting 11 overall. But luckily, you're going to get to see that, because we've got 2 Bundesliga games to come as well in the end of this episode. We played 4. And that was mainly down to the fact that I wasn't sure what signings to make. So I left you guys a little bit of time to give me some suggestions. I'm not saying they're going to be able to sign them, because I did make 2 signings in this episode, because I felt like we needed to do that already. But in case we get some money, and in case I can keep some money at the club, what do you guys want to do in terms of transfers? Who do you want to see join us? I'll talk about why I brought in the players I did when we go around to them. But obviously, guys, I do have a little bit of money left, around about £10 million. So if you want to leave any suggestions, leave them down below and I'll check them out and hopefully make some of them happen for you guys as well. As we move into now the Preseason Tour friendly, after beating Lille in the semis, we moved on after that, I guess, 90th minute goal that got us in here. And if we play anything like we did in that game, then we should have a decent opportunity here. Arp started the game where he didn't start the last time. I think he also made a couple of other changes as well. So we're going to get to see the young man, see what he's all about, see if he can feature for us in this first season, or if I need to think about him for the future potentially. But he's in the training system, so we are going to grow him. And, you know, the start to the games and so far in today's episode just hasn't been great, has it? Because no more than a minute into this one, and already we were behind. Straight from kickoff, didn't touch the ball. They played the ball through. It was a sensational pass, and they went 1-0 up. So, for the second time in the first 2 games of playing as Hamburg manager, we're going to have to come from behind to get anything out of the game. We should have been back on level terms when Arp in the centre of the box, pretty much unmarked, sent his volley wide of the bottom corner. Worrying signs, but then 42 minutes into it, how about this for a passing move? Ending it off with our fullback putting the ball into the back of the net after Bobby Wood played him in. But there was about 6 or 7 passes in that move where our opponents didn't touch the ball. And for a moment, I thought I was watching Barcelona playing football. It was really, really good. And to score an equaliser of that calibre, I was very happy with the boys. And with 3 minutes left of this one, that's right, you guessed it, we found the winner. Oh, jeez, I'm seeing a recurring theme appearing here. Conceding early, finding an equaliser, scoring late to win the game. If this is anything to go by, we are going to be in for a fun first season here at Hamburg, let me say that. And the goals as well that we're scoring are pretty good goals. It's not like we're getting lucky and getting these tap-ins. We're having to work pretty hard to actually find the back of the net. And I'm also having to defend pretty hard as well, because when we change into those passing settings, it definitely does make the AI a bit quicker with the movement on the ball. And it's a bit more difficult when you miss a tackle to get yourself back in and get yourself structured to defend again. But with that, we won the Preseason Tour. We had the most money picked up from it. And although it's not really a massive trophy, I thought I'd give you guys the pleasure of watching us lift it. Even though that won't be the first one that I'm really bothered about, I'm not classing that as a trophy won. So we're still in chase of our first piece of silverware as Hamburg manager. But for now, obviously it's a nice start to build upon. And with that, we move into looking at the first transfer of this new series. Lucas Torreira. You guys have heard of this guy. He now has just moved over to Arsenal in real life for £26 million. I've got to say, when I watched him play for Uruguay in the World Cup, I was a fan of this little guy. He is a machine, put it that way. And he chases everything. He works hard. And I think for the midfield, we needed somebody like him to come in and basically just be that holding midfielder who was going to come in and be that solidity at the back that we needed, you know, to hold that CDM position down. And with a cheap £16 million deal on the table with Sampdoria for him, I then offered the contract, and as it stood, we were going to be paying a little bit of money. It was kind of a lot out of our transfer budget because we only had a budget of around about 26 million anyways, but he's got a great potential, can still grow, and look at the wages as well. He wanted pretty much nothing, only 30 grand a week. So I was very happy to make him my first signing of this new series. As I said, he'll work hard, he'll hold us down, give us that solidity that we need, and hopefully we'll go around winning everything that we need as well. He's only 5'6", but a lot of the time I don't think you need to really win a lot of headers. He just needs to get in and make the tackles happen. And outgoing though for us, Aaron Hunt. He has left the club and he has gone over to Krasnodar I think it is actually, in I think Russia. And the £9 million deal, we got £7 million back in place of that one. The reason I accepted that deal is he's 30 years of age, he's getting older, and he wasn't going to be in my first, team plans, especially with the arrival of Lucas Torreira. We've got Holtby now, we've got Torreira. And I just didn't think that he was going to play that many games, so I decided to let him go. For the other side, though, a striker that I'm not interested in, a 70-rated guy, I decided also to go ahead and transfer list him and sell him on when the offer came in. But, ladies and gentlemen, what you are seeing on your screen is about to be quite possibly the greatest transfer I have ever made in any FIFA career mode. That is right. Andy Carroll might be on his way to Hamburg in the Bundesliga for a mere £7.1 million. The 6'4", well, we can't really call him an international, but ex-England international may be about to come in and be our focal point of our attack. I should also clarify as well that I am very serious when I made this transfer happen. I looked at him and I thought to myself, you know what I've never done? I've never used an out-and-out target man in a side before. So I looked at this and his wages are ridiculous. I'm not going to deny that. It's stupid, all right? Paying £110,000 a week, it's crazy. But for what he's come into the team to do, be the aerial presence up front in a 4-4-2, which is what I'm probably going to play for this season, by the way, guys, and win knockdowns and win headers, I think for £7.1 million, we might have got a bargain on our hands. He made his debut, though, in our first Bundesliga game of our entire career when we took on Augsburg at home at the Volkspark Stadion with new debuts for Lucas Torreira and Big Andy Carroll, who wears the number 10 shirt as he starts up front alongside Bobby Wood. Oh, my goodness me. Bet you weren't expecting that, were you? Bet you didn't expect to see Andy Carroll playing for Hamburg in the Bundesliga. But as I said, it wouldn't be a DJ Wood series without something going wrong, and that was that we'd give away a penalty pretty much like we did in game number 1 when we took over as manager, but this one's in the Bundesliga. So Papadopoulos brings down his man, chance from the spot, Augsburg to step up and take it, and it was going to be Augsburg 1, Hamburg 0 after 22 minutes. Yeah, you remember that recurring theme that I spoke about earlier on when we were playing in the preseason tour, when I said that we might go a goal down and have to come back and then score late on? Well, signs were pointing in exactly that way, because no more than 3 minutes later, Holtby, up the other end, ran through and scored to make it 1-1. So in a matter of 25 minutes, I wasn't really sure what was happening. All I knew is that both goals had been touched and both goals had actually been broken. It's not great goalkeeping. I'm not going to say it isn't, because I could sit there and say what a strike from Holtby, but I'd be lying, because it wasn't really that great of a strike. But then this, I can't even begin to tell you how good it feels to actually see my goalkeeper make a save. You guys know I was getting very frustrated at some point with the fact my keepers were never making saves, and that one was right out of the top drawer from our number 1. With 4 added minutes played in the end of the first half, we got very lucky, and we got a penalty of our own. Just to clarify as well, guys, handballs are on for this series, and so you might see this more often than not as Max jumps up. But then again, I'm not sure if it's given for a handball or if it's given for that, when he walks around and slaps the oncoming Hamburg attacker there in the face, pretty much, when he jumped up to attack the ball. It was lucky, though, because I missed it. Again, wouldn't be a DJ Wood episode without me missing a penalty. But not only that, we had another chance. We had a second chance, because we got another penalty in the second half this time. Again, I don't know what the Augsburg players were doing. They were jumping up, flailing their arms all over the place, and I was just kind of sat there, baffled as to what was going on and how we were able to get 2 penalties in exactly the same game. Bobby Wood would then step up and go exactly the same place, and this time it went in the back of the net. So, woof, relief is there, and we were able to come away with a 2-1 win. So every game we've played so far in this new series has ended 2-1 with us going behind first. I mean, it's nice because we're proving we can do it. And I just had to show you this as well, because Lucas Torreira picked up man of the match in his first game at the club, certainly showing why we paid £16 million for him. He had the most passes out of any players, the most dribbles out of any players. The only issue was that he didn't win the most tackles out of any players, and that's why I purchased him to pretty much do. After that, though, we moved straight out of one game into the next, and this is the final game of episode number 1 today, guys. As I said, you guys do have a little bit of time in order to give me some suggestions for signings, because I did leave it with the transfer deadline day still to come, and that will be where we start from the next episode. It was an unchanged side from the one that had just beaten Augsburg, with Andy Carroll still up front. And he was involved heavily for the first goal of this one. And for the first time, we actually took the lead in the game without going behind. Oh man, it's taken 4 games to do it, but at least we've finally done it. And as I said, Andy Carroll played a big part in this. It's so nice to have a big lump up there that you can pretty much put the ball into, and you know he's going to win it, or at least put himself about and get something on it. And he did. It fell then to the back post, and Kostic picked it up and fired it into the bottom corner. Hamburg 1, Cologne 0. And also, they did a really good piece of business, Cologne. They'd actually got, I think it was Chanaloglu. They'd signed him on loan, so I've got to give him credit for that, because it was a really, really good piece of business. But talking about good, our keeper, I don't know what he's putting in his Weetabix in the morning, but that's the first time I think my goalkeeper's ever made 2 saves in any episode of my FIFA 18 career, but I'm not even trolling. He made another save, and I was baffled, because when that happened, I genuinely thought Cologne were about to equalise. Wasn't meant to be, though. So, with that, we've won our first 2 games of the season. That wasn't what I was thinking was going to happen from this one. So, yeah, kind of a little bit strange with that one. A 2-1 win, a 1-0 win, and we've got Andy Carroll in the side. Things can't get much more stranger, can they? But I'm sure there will in the next episode for you guys. Nevertheless, if you did happen to enjoy this one, a like would be greatly appreciated. As I said earlier, apologies for the delay in this one, simply because of the fact I was out trying to start on my car insurance this morning and got back at around 3 p.m. Recorded this, got it out for you, and hopefully you guys enjoy that as well. Still more to come for next episode. We do have the deadline day to come. Leave me your suggestions. Got a little bit of money left to work with. There's been some crazy business done by the rest of the Bundesliga clubs as well, so we'll check that out in the next episode, because there's some brilliant business done and some really tough players that we're going to come up against in this season. But if you are excited for the second episode of this series, if this episode gets to 100 likes before midnight tonight, guys, I will pump out the next episode for you all to enjoy tomorrow evening. So make sure you smash that like button. If you are new around here, like what you see, the subscribe button is down below. Click that, guys, to follow me on the channel, and I'll catch you all again soon. Adios.